And the goal, of course, is to discover what the code is going to do. So there will be 4 options. One is it does not compile. The second is it crashes. The third is it returns 0 or it returns 1 to the system. So can you scroll up? Hopefully everything can be displayed on a single page. Maybe you should zoom out a little bit. Font size. Still a little bit smaller. So yes, I think you have everything interesting on the screen. So it's a framework for board games. So you have a class for the board and a derived class for the chessboard, and now you can discover the rest on your own. So this code is, of course, overly generic because it's bad code, of course. And of course, there is a closing bracket, so you cannot say it does not compile because there is a missing curly bracket. There is a curly bracket at the end. It would be too easy. So, do you think you had enough time or do you need more? So, who thinks the code does not compile? 1, not very sure. Sorry? Yes. It returns a default value of type T. So, sorry, yeah, T curly brackets means default value of type T. So, who believes it will crash? Nobody. So, who believes it returns 1? Okay. Who believes it returns 0? So, it's a room of non-believers mostly. Who is confident to propose an explanation of what this code is doing and why it's doing it that way? Yes?
I can give it a shot. So, let me see. So first, okay. I'm just gonna give it a shot. So the board takes the template of type piece. So in that case, it's integer. And the function get actually takes what's known as a literal type, something like an enum or something like that. So I think if you passed something that could not be passed as a template value parameter, it wouldn't work. So empty in this case is T with the brace, so it's default initialized. So in this case, T on line 16 is an integer, which it's the default value for integer, which is in fact empty, and you're always returning empty. So it's returning the default value for an integer, which I guess would be 0, if I'm not mistaken.
So this is the naive understanding of the code. But it's good because you have almost all the right steps except the trick.
Okay, there's a trick.
That's a trick. Of course, that's a trick.
Of course there's a trick.
So the trick is on this line.
Yeah.
The trick is that the get function which is called is not the one you expect to be called. It's not going to call this function at all.
It's going to call stud_get.
It's going to call stud_get. Why so? Because this is the base class is templated. So it's what is called a dependent base class. So when doing name lookup to decide which function is called, this is a non-qualified code. If it was written this arrow get, it will find the function in the base class. But because it's just written get and not this arrow get, it's not allowed to look into the dependent base classes. So it will look for get functions somewhere else. And there happens to be, randomly, a stud_get function in utility that matches the signature and that is returning the nth element of a tuple. Oops. We lost the picture. Okay, and it's returning the nth element of a tuple. So it's in this case, it's actually 0. So it's returning the first element of this tuple. It's returning 5. And it's testing 5. Is 5 equals to 0? No, it's not. So it's going to return the opposite value. But the point is, be careful of dependent base classes, and be careful that when you use when you have a dependent base class and you want to use a function for this base class, make sure to use a qualified code like this arrow stuff instead of just stuff. Yeah?
Did you actually run into this mistake?
No, I run in the opposite. So there is, I'm working on the static analyzer tool, and I'm also defining a set of rules which is called MISRA. And one of the MISRA rule is detecting this situation. And I recently implemented it, so I came up with the test case for it, and I said, oh, I could make the test case a little bit more tricky to make sure that it compiles and it returns something that people would not expect. So it's, no, I'm devious. It's not an actual mistake. No, without line 2, there would be, yeah, make pair would compile, but even if you qualified make pair, the get would not be searched, it would not be found. It's not no, because yes. So sorry. Yes, it would be yes, because it would be a stud pair. The argument would be a stud pair. So with ADL, it would be found anyway. So yes, it should compile, but can you? Do you have a keyboard or something like that?
No, but
let's check. There was another question, maybe, while we check with Godbolt? No? I think I saw another. Okay, so it was the same question. Oh, you're looking for advanced keyboard. Yeah, great. And maybe you should show the output window. Yeah. Yeah, you need to add stud there.
what's compiled? Could it compile?
With warnings, but it compiles, yes.
And it returns 0.
Yeah. What?
Thank you.
Have fun.
Come on else. Why did it return 0? Due to the comparison at the end.
Yeah, showing you one.
Wait,
It's true.
We don't know which get.
Why is it 0?
Get is value, the return value of get will be 5. It compares 5 to 0, which is.
We don't get the get from the best class.
No, you still not.
Oh.
Replace, add this arrow get, and you will see the output.
Yeah, because it's using ADL to get to find the get function.
No, thank you. Maybe this.
Yeah.
It's dependent.
Yeah, it's let's write this. Nice syntax. And now it should become one.
Without warning. Someone else? No? You have something? So, yeah.
Hello everyone. Yeah, thank you. Click there. Yeah, thank you. So hello everyone, my name is Yanis, and recently I come across a new feature of C++20, I believe, which is called the C++ modules. This is basically my first time coming here, and I hope I didn't. Okay.
Be careful.
All right. Yeah, I will. I'm sorry. And basically, what I wanted to show was the Cpp modules that was recently introduced in C++20. But what I find interesting is that this feature basically is a new way of generating your project and structuring your project, because it replaces the standard version of header and source file with a only unique file, which is called a module. Those modules can export and import functions from other modules, kind of similar like Rust and other, how can I say, high-level languages. This feature was recently introduced, and what I find really interesting is that depending on the compiler, whether it's CLang from LLVM, GCC, or Windows MSVC, the implementation is kind of different. From what I've seen on MSVC Windows, it is possible to export the standard library using this module way. So as you can see here, we have a simple example where we export a module and import a function from another module, the module B, which could make your project way easier to read, because it removes first of all, the two folders, source and includes, which can be kind of hard. And on the other hand, having something that is kind of similar to, how can I say, kind of similar to higher languages is kind of funny to me, at least. And yeah, this is a new feature that was introduced, I believe, in GCC 12 or 13, but was mainly improved in GCC 15. That will come really close. Like, I believe that the GCC 15 will release like in a week or two. If it's not released yet, I'm not sure. And yeah, that's basically it. And another thing I wanted to share was a website I found really funny, which is called Are We Module Yet? Let me. So yeah, I hope it works. Yeah, which basically is compilation of very popular C++ libraries and their progression and migration into modules. So as you can see, I believe the current rate is like 4 projects per year. So this is a new feature that I really like, but is sous-côté, like we will say in French. And I don't know, I feel like this feature I feel like this feature is fairly interesting and could help you, how can I say, could help you build like a really simple project where you don't necessarily need a multiple header file, multiple source file all across your code base. And just wanted to add that I believe that this is not fairly supported by GNU Make files, but is fully compatible with CMake. So it's not necessarily, I mean, it is kind of a new and shiny feature, but I really like this one, and just wanted to show you something that could improve your project. Thanks a lot. I don't know if anyone has any questions. Thanks. use it on production code? Or
No.
the
Not at all. Unfortunately, I mean, in my company, we are stuck in C++ 14, so. But I've used it a couple of times for personal projects, and yeah. Any questions? Yeah.
Do you know maybe some of the most frequent reason why the libraries are migrated to modules?
It depends a lot. Usually here, those are all open source projects, of course, but it requires first of all some work to do because I wonder if I can find just format FMT, which is fairly popular. It's kind of like a format module that prints that could help you print the std out, kind of similar to Python, and it is supported by it is compatible with module. I wonder if there is the merge requests associated with it. So maybe we can see all together. Maybe we can see together there is only that. Wait, that's weird. Anyway, some libraries supports it, which makes it really cool to include. You can just include the module and everything will go together without having to include multiple header files. And yeah, pretty much. I don't necessarily. I mean, I know that this feature is not used very much often, and therefore not a lot of people have the interest in supporting it. And yeah, but yeah, pretty much, yeah.
I think it's also a problem of chicken and egg. It's not many libraries are using it, so the tool took a long time to adjust because it requires a lot. And also, when your library is using other libraries and the other don't use it, there are some possibilities, but they are not so nice. So everybody is waiting to see that, when the others have moved, I will move too. And it's a little bit
even the standard library is not fully compatible with that. So
well, now you can do import std.
I believe it's only present in MSVC, so I'm not sure.
Okay, in the standard you can do it.
Okay, yeah, but of course, as always. Yeah, you had a question?
Can we mix export with normal include?
Yes, it is possible. It is possible to use a standard include, like a regular include with it. At the same time, I believe you have, I don't know if you do have an example right here, and you have to add the export module A. So this is like a fairly good example because I believe it's not easily feasible to import a standard header file like you will do for any type of modules. So
actually, you use a standard header, and for your library, you can make export.
You can definitely make a module and export it. It's how can I say? It's not forced. You can still export your modules and include a header file if necessary. So it's only like an addition to that, which could make your project more readable. So yeah. Any other?
There are some complexities if you have, if the same library is used through two paths. One path is using module, the other path is using header for the same library. There are some ways to make that work, but it's not
for debugging.
I don't really know. I've never tried to debug it on Clang, but I guess someone has to try it. Yeah. Any other questions? All right.
Would you like to do a full talk on this topic?
Maybe one day, sure. I mean, I'm down to do that. So yeah. Anyway, thanks a lot, everyone.
Thank you.
Someone else?
Okay, hello. So this will be kind of a follow-up from this talk. Currently, there is the chicken and egg problem that you mentioned, I believe. So there is a small project that exists, which is to implement the next standard right now. So you could use, for example, optional from 2026 in your project right now, which is called the Beaman Project. I don't know if anyone heard about it. So basically, it's a, well, as I said, someone saw that, I'm sorry, I'm not used to talk unprepared. So, thank you. So basically, someone saw that there was a huge issue with library implementation where the standard committee want to see some proof that it works, but everybody else want it to be fully stabilized before doing any implementation. So a group of, I don't know how many people start the project, but anyway, they start this, they talked about it at CppCon. You can find the talk on YouTube. And they start implementing, so the next version of optional, there is also the, I believe the technical preview for the execution context that will hopefully be ready for 2026. Yeah.
If I remember correctly, Cpp optional was introduced in C++.
Yes, so there was some change to it. Basically, it now behave as a range. So you can, if you're familiar with Rust, you can iterate over ranges and over basically anything in Rust. So this is the idea, to introduce some monadic more monadic operation to optional to some other libraries. I mean, part of the standard library. Yeah, so go check it out whenever the standard committee introduced new projects, because maybe there is some space for you to improve the whole standard by contributing some code to it. Yeah.
What do you mean by the searching of optional? You mean you don't have to check if the optional has a value?
Yes.
You just have to make a for?
Yeah, exactly. Yes?
Do you know which standard is required?
I'm pretty sure they use at least C++20, maybe 23. I'm pretty sure also that they don't use modules for various reasons. Mostly because GCC still haven't support for it, officially at least. So it's kind of a pain to set it up. But, well, I know CMake can do it now. Yeah. Any other question? Yep.
It's like the functions for stud expected?
Maybe. I'm not sure, but the state of stud expected. But yeah, I don't know what they changed.
I think you can provide some lambda or something that transforms if it has a value or otherwise.
Ah, yes. Yeah.
You change the.
So, I mean, yes, but the idea is to integrate with the range libraries. So you can do the whole pipe filter and so on. Well, filter on an optional is useless, but
Vector, you can,
yeah.
if the value exists, you can have that.
In fact, it is optional. It is a range of 0 or 1 element.
Yeah.
It's not an optional vector which is opt. It is an optional int. It is either 0 int or 1 int.
Yeah.
Are you one of the contributors?
I wanted to, and then I saw that most of what I could contribute to was already taken. And the executor and network stack is a bit too hard for me, at least for the time I have to put into it. But maybe in the next, I mean, I think the committee should have its next reunion in June, so maybe at this time I will look it up to see what's changed, what's available, and so on. Yeah. Anyway, thank you.